The stars over the Zyran system glimmered like cold diamonds in the void, but for Commander Rin of the Zalaxian fleet, they meant nothing. His massive warship floated silently, almost invisible against the cosmic backdrop. Every sensor on his bridge screamed caution, yet he could not shake the feeling that someone, was watching. The Zalaxian Empire had faced many enemies before, but none like the humans of Earth. Legends spoke of their cunning, their fearlessness, and their weapons. Many dismissed them as myths, a small planet of weak species, hardly worth their attention. But rumors had grown into reports, and reports into dread. Rin tapped a command on his console, bringing up the latest intelligence. The human fleet had sent no warning, no communication. They had ignored countless summits, diplomatic envoys, and ultimatums. And now, according to intercepted transmissions, Earth had built weapons capable of wiping out entire star systems. Rin's claws tightened around the railing as a chill ran down his spine. Could a single species rise so fast? The data made no sense. Humans had barely left their own system, yet they were already a force the galaxy feared. Suddenly, the main screen flickered. A signal. Not from any human station, they never broadcast openly, but from deep in uncharted space. It was a beacon, pulsing with strange energy. Rin frowned. His advisors whispered in hurried tones, unsure if it was a trap or a challenge. The Zalaxians had fought many wars, but none with such ambiguity. Every instinct screamed danger. Every rule they had learned in battle screamed caution. And yet, curiosity gnawed at him. The bridge fell silent as the beacon's energy signature grew stronger. Then, without warning, a streak of light appeared near the system's edge. The human ship was enormous, bigger than any vessel the Zalaxians had ever seen, yet its design was elegant, almost frightening in its simplicity. It moved like it owned the stars. Its hull reflected the light of distant suns, and even from Rin's distance, the aura of raw power was unmistakable. "Commander," hissed Lieutenant Varys, "it's approaching fast. Shields at full strength. Everything ready for combat." Rin shook his head, eyes fixed on the display. He had trained for centuries, faced horrors in countless battles, yet a strange unease gripped him. This was different. This was not just a ship. It was a statement. A warning. A reckoning. The human vessel stopped at the system's edge, hovering like a predator above prey. Rin's fleet readied weapons, but no human signal came. No words, no demands, just silence. The stars themselves seemed to pause. Then, a voice echoed through Rin's mind, not through communication channels, but as a clear, unshakable presence. "You were warned. Peace was your choice. Retribution is ours." A gasp ran through the bridge. How could a species communicate this way? How could they project thought across the void? Rin's claws twitched in anger and fear. This was no ordinary warship. It was a machine of death, of power, and worse, it was human. The Zalaxians launched probes, trying to understand, to scan the vessel. Every probe was incinerated before it left the hangar bay. Every attempt to breach the human defenses failed. The humans had anticipated everything. Every calculation, every tactic, every weakness, the humans had already countered it. And then the sensors picked up the most horrifying data, energy signatures building inside the ship, unlike anything the galaxy had catalogued. Weapons that could erase planets in seconds. "Commander, they are preparing to fire," Varys whispered. Rin felt the cold weight of doom. His fleet was powerful, his soldiers skilled, but against this was extinction. Yet still, a spark of defiance burned in his heart. They would not go quietly. The Zalaxians had conquered worlds, toppled empires, and yet now, for the first time, fear rooted them to the deck. From Earth's orbit, millions watched the skies. Humanity had known this day was coming, had prepared in silence while the galaxy argued. But they did not fear. Not now. Not ever. The weapon, dormant for centuries, had awakened. And the humans knew the price of ignoring their warnings. Rin's fleet scrambled, issuing orders that had worked against thousands of enemies before, but now they seemed irrelevant. The humans moved with purpose, precision, and an eerie calm. And then, the first shot, the energy beam carved through the darkness, hitting a Zalaxian battleship. In an instant, it vanished. Not debris, not fire, nothing. Just silence. The bridge erupted into chaos. Screams, alarms, desperate calculations. Rin's mind raced. This was just the beginning. He could feel it. Humanity had crossed a line, and the galaxy, arrogant and blind, was about to learn the cost of ignoring Earth's last warning. Rin gritted his teeth. "Prepare for full retreat," he growled. "We underestimated them, and it will be our end if we do not act now." But in the back of his mind, one horrifying thought remained. The humans were not just fighting for survival. They were here to ensure no one ever threatened them again. And as he watched the stars burn with the light of human vengeance, Rin knew the empire he had served for millennia might crumble before a single species that had once been dismissed as insignificant. The Zalaxian fleet was in chaos. Ships darted in all directions, alarms blaring, weapons firing blindly into the darkness. But every shot the humans returned was devastatingly precise, dismantling ships before they could even react. Commander Rin's heart pounded in his chest. He had never seen a fleet this unstoppable, this perfect. From the human warship, there was still no sound, no warning, no threat, only motion, silent and deadly. The Zalaxian sensors could not keep up. Every attempt to analyze the human technology ended in failure. It was as if the ship itself was alive, anticipating every strategy, predicting every move. Rin clenched his claws in frustration. How could one species build such a weapon? How could they move so fast, strike so accurately, and yet remain untouchable? Meanwhile, on Earth, millions watched the situation unfold through deep space observation networks. Children clutched their parents' hands, soldiers readied their stations, and leaders simply nodded, knowing humanity had waited a long time for this moment. They had prepared silently while the galaxy argued, dismissed their warnings, and mocked their patience. But patience was never weakness. And now, the first strike had already sent the enemy fleet into panic. Back on the Zalaxian flagship, Rin called for a council meeting. The senior officers gathered, their usual confidence replaced by fear. "Commander," hissed Admiral Tavos, "we have never faced a ship like this. Every weapon we fire is neutralized before it reaches them. Our drones are destroyed instantly. Their shields are impenetrable." Rin's eyes narrowed. "Do they know we are here?" "No, sir," Tavos admitted, his voice trembling. "It's as if they know exactly what we will do next, but they never attack until we move." Rin's mind raced. He had fought wars with dozens of species, countless enemies, but this was different. The humans were not just advanced, they were unpredictable. And unpredictability, he realized, was the most dangerous weapon of all. Suddenly, a flash of light appeared on the bridge's main screen. A Zalaxian cruiser had been obliterated by a concentrated beam of energy. The impact left nothing behind. Rin felt the weight of his failure pressing down on him. "We need to retreat," he growled. "Pull back and regroup. We cannot fight them head-on, not yet." But the humans did not allow retreat. The massive human ship moved with a speed that defied logic, cutting across the battlefield in moments. Smaller human craft swarmed around the Zalaxian vessels, disabling engines, shields, and weapons with surgical precision. Each strike was methodical, and each explosion sent shockwaves of terror through the remaining Zalaxian crews. In the chaos, Rin's mind flashed back to the reports he had ignored for decades. Humans were supposed to be primitive, divided, and easy to conquer. Yet here they were, a single warship wreaking havoc across an entire fleet. The legends were true, but even legends could not have prepared him for this reality. "Commander," Varys shouted, "they are focusing on our command ships. If they destroy those, our fleet will collapse completely." Rin's claws gripped the railing. His decision had to be swift. Divert all firepower to protect the command vessels. Sacrifice everything else if we must. As the Zalaxians desperately tried to defend their leaders, the humans executed maneuvers that no one had predicted. They struck from angles that seemed impossible, teleporting or moving faster than the sensors could track. Entire squads vanished before they could fire a single shot. The bridge was filled with the smell of ozone and the stench of fear. Far away, on Earth, the command center monitored the battle. General Mara, the strategist behind the human fleet, watched the screens with calm focus. Every Zalaxian movement had been anticipated, every weakness identified, every attack countered. Humanity had waited, trained, and planned for this day. Not for revenge alone, but for survival. And now, as their ships tore through the enemy lines, the galaxy was witnessing the result. Rin's fleet was collapsing. Every minute brought more destruction, more loss. His officers were panicking. He had one last hope, an ancient superweapon hidden on the edge of the system, something the humans might not know about. But even as he ordered the activation, a new dread took hold. The humans had anticipated this too. A flash of light, and the superweapon's power was neutralized before it could fire. Rin's eyes widened in disbelief. There was no escape. There was no advantage. The human ship hovered above the devastation, silent, patient, and unstoppable. And then, as if mocking the Zalaxians, a second beam tore through the remaining vessels. Silence followed. The battlefield was empty, save for the human fleet, gliding with terrifying calm. Rin sank into his chair, disbelief and fear etched across his face. This cannot be. They are unstoppable. Varys swallowed hard. Commander, what do we do now? Rin's eyes were fixed on the human warship, pulsing with quiet power. Now, we survive. We retreat. And we pray the galaxy remembers that this is only the beginning. Above the system, the human ship remained, waiting, silent, a warning etched across the stars. Humanity had made their message clear. Peace had been offered and rejected. Retribution had arrived. And the galaxy would learn, sooner or later, the cost of ignoring Earth's last warning. The remnants of the Zalaxian fleet limped through the dark void, smoke and debris trailing from shattered ships. Commander Rin watched helplessly as his forces scattered in panic, their once mighty formation broken. The humans had struck with precision, leaving no room for error, no chance for retaliation. On Earth, the command centers were alive with quiet focus. General Mara and her officers studied the real-time battle feeds, analyzing every Zalaxian maneuver. The humans had prepared for centuries for this moment, not for glory, but survival. Every fleet movement had been anticipated, every trap expected, every counter ready. They were the apex predators of the galaxy, and this was their moment to prove it. The human warship hovered at the edge of the battlefield, a silent sentinel. Smaller human fighters darted around, striking weak points in the Zalaxian ships with surgical precision. Energy beams cut through hulls, disabling weapons and engines without unnecessary destruction. It was methodical, almost merciless. Humanity had no intention of giving the Zalaxians a chance to rebuild, regroup, or retaliate. Commander Rin's mind raced. Retreat was no longer enough. His fleet was shattered, morale collapsing. He had one hope left, a secret weapon, hidden deep within the asteroid belt, designed to obliterate anything that dared threaten the Zalaxian Empire. But even as he issued the command, a sudden alert froze him in place. The humans had anticipated it. A pulse of energy, unlike anything the galaxy had ever recorded, erupted from the human warship. It disabled the Zalaxian superweapon in an instant. The console displayed critical failures across all systems. Rin's jaw clenched. Humanity was not just strong, they were brilliant, calculating, and terrifyingly patient. "Commander," hissed Lieutenant Varys, eyes wide with fear. "They know everything we try. How is this possible?" Rin shook his head, gripping the railing. "They plan. They calculate. They wait, and when the time comes, they strike. That is how a species survives for centuries against a galaxy that underestimates them." Across the battlefield, human ships moved in perfect synchrony. Each strike had a purpose. Each maneuver had been tested in simulations thousands of times. The humans were not fighting for conquest, they were eliminating threats, teaching the galaxy the price of arrogance. Every destroyed Zalaxian ship sent a clear message: no species would ignore Earth and live to tell the tale. Rin watched as his fleet continued to crumble. He saw captains he had served alongside for decades fall one by one. Panic spread through the bridges of his remaining vessels. Some fired wildly, some attempted evasive maneuvers, but nothing worked. The humans anticipated every move, countered every attack, and punished every mistake. In the distance, a faint glow appeared. A fleet of human drones, invisible to Zalaxian sensors until moments away, surrounded the remaining ships. They were small, fast, and deadly, striking with precision that left no escape. Entire cruisers were disabled in seconds. It was an execution, not a battle. Rin's mind raced. "We have underestimated them for too long," he muttered. "We thought Earth was weak, primitive, harmless. But they have survived, evolved, and now, they dominate." Varys swallowed hard. "Commander, if we escape, do you think they will stop?" Rin's gaze did not leave the human warship. "No. They are not here to stop. They are here to remind the galaxy that ignoring humanity comes with a price. And that price is extinction." Even as the Zalaxian ships tried to flee towards safe sectors, the humans maintained their position, waiting patiently, giving no quarter, showing no mercy. Each movement was a message: humanity had chosen this path, and there would be no turning back. In the silence of space, the magnitude of human power became clear. This was not a single fleet. It was a force of nature, designed to survive, dominate, and teach a lesson that would echo across the stars. Rin realized that the battle was not just lost, it was over. The humans had demonstrated their strength, their cunning, and their patience. The galaxy would never forget this day. And as the human warship drifted silently above the wreckage, it became clear: peace had been offered and rejected. Retribution had come. For Rin, the message was simple and terrifying. The galaxy had awakened a predator it had long underestimated. And that predator was human. The Zalaxian remnants scattered across the void, struggling to regroup. Commander Rin floated in the bridge of his flagship, eyes fixed on the massive human warship that had stopped just beyond the system's edge. The humans made no move to destroy the remaining Zalaxian vessels immediately. They didn't need to. Their presence alone was punishment. Their silence was a threat louder than any weapon. Rin's mind raced. Every plan he had relied on, every strategy, had failed. Every secret, every advantage, had been anticipated and neutralized. The humans were not just fighters, they were thinkers. They studied the galaxy, predicted outcomes, and acted with patience that stretched across centuries. This was no accident. Every Zalaxian misstep had been counted, every weakness exploited. On Earth, General Mara observed the fleet in action with calm precision. Her face was expressionless, but her mind raced through hundreds of contingency plans. Every Zalaxian tactic had already been simulated. Every potential counterattack anticipated. Humanity did not just fight, they calculated, adapted, and waited for the perfect moment to strike. And now, as the galaxy watched in horror, the humans were showing the results of millennia of preparation. "Commander," Lieutenant Varys said, voice trembling, they are everywhere at once. Our sensors can't track all of them. Even when we split our fleet, they appear, striking the weakest points." Rin gritted his teeth. "It's not just their ships, it's their strategy. They are not fighting like a fleet. They are fighting like a single mind controlling the universe." And in a way, they were. Human drones moved ahead, disabling critical systems silently, leaving Zalaxian ships crippled but intact, a message clearer than destruction: submit or perish. Smaller fighter craft darted between wrecks, cutting off escape routes, while the massive human warship remained above, silent, controlling, untouchable. The Zalaxians attempted communication, desperate, pleading. But no human signal replied. The humans did not negotiate. They did not need to. They had already won. The galaxy had ignored Earth's warnings for centuries. Now, it was time for the consequences. Rin slammed his claw against the console. Prepare for full retreat. Fall back to the outer systems. Protect what's left. Varys shook his head. It won't work, Commander. They anticipate every move. Even if we retreat, the humans will follow. They will not stop until the galaxy learns its lesson. Rin's eyes burned with frustration and fear. He had ruled systems for centuries, conquered countless worlds, and yet he felt powerless against this single species. How could humans, so small, so primitive in appearance, have become the galaxy's apex predators? How could they strike with such patience, precision, and cruelty, all without words? On Earth, Mara gave a silent nod. The humans had achieved the first phase of their plan: demonstrate overwhelming power without unnecessary destruction, instill fear, and ensure no enemy doubted their capabilities. Across the galaxy, systems that had laughed at Earth now trembled. News of the human attack spread faster than any fleet could travel. Entire alliances reconsidered their positions. Peaceful empires shivered at the thought of facing this species, and the galaxy's aggressors reconsidered every move they had made against humanity. Back on the Zalaxian flagship, Rin's crew worked frantically to maintain order, to salvage what they could. But hope was slipping. Every system was failing, every communication was blocked, every plan falling apart. And as he stared at the human warship above the battlefield, he realized the truth. The humans had not just come to fight, they had come to teach a lesson that would echo through the stars for generations. A quiet alert sounded. A smaller human vessel detached from the massive warship, moving silently toward the Zalaxian fleet. It did not fire. It did not communicate. It simply moved with purpose, a symbol of inevitability. Each Zalaxian ship that attempted to flee was intercepted, immobilized, and disabled without harm to the crew. The humans were not just killers, they were masters of fear and control. Rin turned to Varys, his voice low and grim. Do you understand now? We underestimated them. We thought we could intimidate, outmaneuver, or overwhelm them. But we were wrong. Humanity is not just a threat, they are a reckoning. Varys swallowed hard, nodding. What do we do now, Commander? Rin's gaze remained fixed on the human warship, unwavering and silent above the wreckage. Now, we survive. And we hope the galaxy remembers that this species does not forgive. They wait. They calculate. And when the time comes, they strike. Above the system, the human warship hovered, silent and patient. Across the stars, the message was clear. Peace had been offered, rejected, and now humanity had awakened. The galaxy would never forget Earth's last warning. And as Rin's fleet limped away, broken and terrified, one truth remained. The humans were not just powerful, they were unstoppable. The remnants of the Zalaxian fleet barely held together as they limped into the outer system. Commander Rin's mind was racing. Every decision he had made, every tactic he had used, had been anticipated and countered. Every escape route had been blocked. Humanity was not just fighting, they were orchestrating the galaxy's punishment with chilling precision. On Earth, General Mara observed the battlefield with quiet focus. Her calm eyes hid the storm of calculations inside her mind. Every Zalaxian maneuver had been anticipated. Every potential attack neutralized. Humanity was showing the galaxy that it did not fight blindly. It struck only when victory was guaranteed, when the lesson would be understood in full. A fleet of human drones suddenly detached from the main warship, moving like shadows across the stars. They struck with pinpoint accuracy, disabling engines, shields, and weapons in seconds. Entire Zalaxian cruisers were immobilized without a single human life lost. The strategy was clear. Teach, but do not waste. Each ship destroyed, or disabled, was a message. Humanity was patient, precise, and unstoppable. Rin's claws gripped the console. They are surgical, he whispered. Not just powerful, they are perfect. Every move calculated, every strike anticipated. How is this possible? Varys shook his head, pale with fear. Commander, They are not just fighting for survival. They are punishing us for ignoring them. They are showing us exactly what happens to those who defy Earth. From the main human warship, massive energy beams carved through the wreckage. Zalaxian ships tried to regroup, but each formation was torn apart before it could stabilize. Smaller human fighters darted around like swarming predators, striking weak points, disabling entire fleets in moments. The humans were everywhere, yet nowhere at once. It was not just war, it was an exhibition of dominance, a reminder of their supremacy. Rin realized that no ordinary fleet could survive this. His seasoned captains were losing hope. Every strategy they had used in centuries of conquest was now useless. The humans had rewritten the rules of war in a single strike. On Earth, Mara gave a calm order. Phase 2, show them the full reach of humanity. Initiate orbital projection protocols. The Zalaxians did not understand until it was too late. Massive energy arcs appeared around the system, controlled remotely by the human fleet. Entire sectors were immobilized. Ships that thought they could flee were suddenly caught in invisible grips, powerless against human technology. It was clear, resistance was futile. The humans did not just fight, they controlled the battlefield with absolute authority. Rin's fleet scattered, but the humans anticipated every move. Drones blocked escape routes, fighters disabled engines, and the massive warship loomed above like a silent judge. One by one, Zalaxian ships fell into submission, crippled but intact, a chilling warning: defiance would be punished. "Commander," Varys whispered, trembling. They are showing mercy. They could destroy us all, but they don't. They are teaching, not just killing." Rin swallowed hard, his mind racing. Mercy? Or calculation? They are teaching the galaxy that nothing survives ignorance. That every empire that ignored Earth will pay the price, eventually. The human warship remained silent above the battlefield, unmoving yet dominating every inch of space. It was a reminder that the humans had mastered not just combat, but strategy, patience, and fear. They were the apex predators of the galaxy, and now, the Zalaxians were learning what it meant to challenge them. From his console, Rin saw the full extent of the human reach. Communications, movement, weapons, everything was under observation, everything controlled, everything predicted. Humanity had waited, prepared, and now, they were executing their retribution with a precision no one could match. Rin clenched his teeth. We underestimated them. We mocked them. We ignored their warnings. And now, we pay the price. Varys nodded grimly. Do you think they will stop here, Commander? Rin's gaze remained fixed on the human warship, glowing silently above the system. No, he said softly. They never stop. They wait, they watch, and when the time comes, they strike. Humanity is not just powerful, they are inevitable. Across the stars, the message was clear. Peace had been offered, rejected, and humanity had awakened. The galaxy had been warned. And as the Zalaxian remnants limped into hiding, broken and terrified, one undeniable truth remained. The humans were not just fighters, they were the reckoning the universe had never expected. The galaxy trembled. Systems far beyond the Zyran sector received reports of the human strike, and whispers of fear spread like wildfire. Entire empires paused their wars, hesitant to provoke the species that had just devastated the Zalaxians. Commander Rin floated in the bridge of his flagship, his claws gripping the railing so tightly it left scratches. The humans were not just a threat, they were a message written in fire across the stars. Commander, Lieutenant Varys said, voice trembling, entire sectors are shutting down. They are surrendering preemptively. They've never seen anything like this. And they fear it. Rin's eyes narrowed. Fear. It is the most powerful weapon a species can wield. And humanity has mastered it. On Earth, General Mara observed the unfolding chaos with calm efficiency. Humanity had done more than strike the Zalaxians, they had sent a message across the galaxy. Peace had been offered and ignored. Retribution had been executed, perfectly, with precision, and without unnecessary bloodshed. Every empire, every warlord, every council knew that ignoring Earth would no longer be an option. The human warship hovered silently in the Zyran system, a colossal figure of authority. Smaller human vessels patrolled nearby, and drones scanned sectors at impossible speeds, detecting and neutralizing threats before they could act. Every Zalaxian movement, every fleet reorganization, every escape attempt was monitored, anticipated, and countered. Humanity had created a net that spanned the system, and the galaxy was beginning to feel its reach. Rin's fleet was fractured and desperate. Communications with distant ships were failing. Supplies and reinforcements were blocked or destroyed. Even the fastest vessels were powerless against the humans' calculated tactics. He had commanded fleets for centuries, yet never had he felt such helplessness. "Commander," Varys said, pointing to a display, they are controlling entire sectors. Their influence is spreading. Systems we have ruled for decades are surrendering, without a fight." Rin's jaw tightened. "It is not surrender," he muttered. "It is submission. And they are teaching the galaxy that defiance comes at a price no empire can bear." Across the void, human drones moved like shadows, striking swiftly at Zalaxian supply lines and isolated patrols. Entire convoys vanished without warning. It was precise, merciless, and deliberate. The humans were not reckless, they were surgical. They struck where needed, leaving just enough intact to instill terror and respect. Rin's mind raced. He had underestimated the humans for centuries. He had assumed their weakness, dismissed their potential, and ignored their warnings. Now, the galaxy itself would pay the price for that arrogance. Humanity was not a single ship, a fleet, or even a planet. They were a force that calculated, waited, and struck with unstoppable precision. "Commander, what do we do now?" Varys whispered, fear plain in his eyes. Rin's gaze remained fixed on the massive human warship, silent yet dominating, hovering above the wreckage of his fleet. "We survive, if we can. And we pray the galaxy remembers what we saw here today. Humanity is not just strong. They are inevitable. And they are patient." Even as the Zalaxian remnants retreated, the humans allowed it, but only just. Every vessel was tracked, every escape monitored. There was no mercy in their patience, only control. Humanity's presence across the system was a warning, a reminder that the galaxy's arrogance would no longer go unpunished. Rin watched helplessly as entire star systems began to comply with Earth's warnings, some even sending emissaries to negotiate peace before humans struck. Fear rippled across the cosmos, a tidal wave no one could stop. Humanity had not yet fully revealed its power, but the galaxy already understood the consequences of ignoring them. The human warship hovered silently above the Zyran system, glowing like a beacon of authority. Every action, every pause, every movement carried a message. Humanity had offered peace, it had been rejected, and now the galaxy would obey or face annihilation. Rin's mind was heavy with realization. They had not merely survived, they had become the apex predators of the galaxy. Every empire, every fleet, every council would now measure their actions against humanity's wrath. And the humans were just getting started. The galaxy held its breath. Systems far beyond the Zyran sector waited in tense silence, unsure if they were witnessing the end of the Zalaxian Empire or the beginning of a new era. Commander Rin's remaining forces were scattered and broken, their morale shattered. The humans had demonstrated that their patience, precision, and power were unmatched. On Earth, General Mara observed the final phase unfold. Humanity had waited, trained, and calculated for centuries for this moment. Every strike, every maneuver, every pause had been part of a plan to show the galaxy the cost of arrogance. The humans had not acted recklessly, they had acted to teach a lesson that no empire could ignore. The massive human warship moved with silent authority across the Zyran system. Its smaller vessels spread out in perfect formation, covering every escape route, every potential hiding point. Drones zipped through the void like living shadows, disabling remaining Zalaxian defenses before they could react. Every Zalaxian ship was under observation, every command anticipated. The humans were unstoppable, omnipresent, and patient. Commander Rin's hands shook as he watched the displays. He had led fleets that conquered worlds, toppling entire civilizations, yet he felt powerless. The humans were not just a fleet. They were the reckoning the galaxy had ignored for too long. Every warning the Zalaxians had received, every envoy they had dismissed, every threat they had ignored had led to this moment. "Commander," Varys said quietly, they are about to strike at our core. If the fleet falls, the Empire, everything we built, it could be gone." Rin clenched his teeth. It is too late for warnings. Too late for retreat. Humanity has already decided the price of defiance. And now, we will pay it. Energy beams arced from the human warship, striking the remaining Zalaxian command vessels. The blasts were precise, disabling engines, shields, and weapon systems instantly. Ships that had survived previous strikes were rendered powerless. Panic erupted on every bridge. The Zalaxian Empire, once feared across the stars, now faced the might of humanity with nothing to defend itself. Yet the humans did not destroy indiscriminately. Every ship that had surrendered, every system that complied, was left intact. It was not wanton destruction. It was calculated retribution. Humanity was teaching, not simply punishing. The galaxy would remember this day, and every empire would think twice before challenging Earth. Rin watched helplessly as the last of his fleet fell under the human control grid. Every attempt to regroup or counterattack failed. The humans anticipated every strategy, countered every move, and executed the final strikes with cold precision. It was a lesson in power, patience, and inevitability. From the human warship, a single projection reached out across the void. The humans did not speak through words, but through presence, through authority that pressed on the minds of all who observed. The message was clear. Peace was offered, ignored, and now the galaxy must comply. Defiance would be met with destruction. Submission would ensure survival. Rin's claws tightened around the console. We have underestimated them. For centuries. We mocked them, ignored them, and now the galaxy has learned what it means to defy Earth. Varys swallowed hard, watching as fleets across neighboring sectors began surrendering preemptively. Entire empires sent emissaries to negotiate peace before humanity even arrived. The humans had not just defeated the Zalaxians, they had rewritten the rules of the galaxy. The massive human warship hovered above the Zyran system, a silent sentinel. Smaller vessels and drones patrolled every sector, every jump point, every potential threat. Humanity's reach was absolute, their patience eternal, and their retribution complete. The galaxy had seen the power of Earth, and it trembled. Rin exhaled, a bitter mix of fear and respect filling him. They are not just strong, they are inevitable. They do not forgive, they do not forget, and they do not hesitate. Across the void, the humans remained calm, their presence a beacon of authority and dominance. Systems that had once mocked Earth now quivered in compliance. The galaxy had been warned. Peace had been rejected. Retribution had arrived. And the humans had shown that when provoked, they were unstoppable. For the Zalaxians, the lesson was clear and terrifying. A single species, small and long underestimated, had risen to claim its place as the apex predator of the stars. And as Rin's fleet disappeared into hiding, broken and humbled, one undeniable truth remained: the humans of Earth would never be ignored again. The stars themselves seemed to acknowledge it. Silence fell across the Zyran system, a quiet before the new order. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same.